Hello and welcome. My name's Tracey McMahon, and I have opened up this space for us to explore our quintessential self, who we are at the core of all of this and what makes us who we are. Just a little bit of background about me, just to let you know how this all began for me, because this Friday on the 30th of May is the 21st anniversary of the catalyst, the experience that changed my life forever. And that was the day that my younger brother actually died. His name is Corey, and he is such an incredibly beautiful soul. And I loved him so dearly in human life, and I have walked with him ever since in the spirit world. And it was Corey that actually opened this up for me. So on the night that Corey died, we used to love music. Like we would get together, we would play music, we'd have some drinks, we'd dance, we'd sing, we'd do it all. And the night that he died, he was actually seeing his favorite band. For those of you that know them, they're called UMI. And he was at this place, absolutely loving the fact that he was there, seeing his favorite band play. And he was on the phone to me. And we must have been on that bloody phone for about, God, 2 hours easily. And just he was just sharing his night with me of what was actually happening. It was about 9:30, say quarter to 10, when I said to him, for God's sake, call, like go and enjoy it. Like get off this phone and go and really be there. Later that night, it was about 2 hours later, I was awoken to the telephone letting me know that Corey had been hit by a car and he died instantly. That took me into a spiral of the deepest, darkest grief that I had ever experienced in my entire life. And it lasted about 3 years. I just remember feeling like, what is the point? You know, you go through all of those. I remember wailing so much. Then I had that numbness. Then I got the anger, and I went through all of the levels of grief on such an incredibly amplified experience. I just could not believe it. Like it was such a shock. In that time, though, I realized that Corey was communicating with me. Corey has a son. He's beautiful. His name's Zeke, and his partner Beck. And they actually used to work they had a restaurant that they ran. And just after Core died, we went down to help them out. And so we would wash the dishes and, do all the things. And I would go out the back. And in those days, I was a smoker. So I'd go out the back to have a smoke. And I noticed that this bird just kept on turning up. He would just like come and sit on the railing and just chirp, chirp, chirp. And he'd wiggle his bum. And I found out that it was a willy wagtail. And it was so cute because it always made me smile. Like it always, because they have this little thing where they like wiggle their butt and they look really happy. And it would just come every single day. And I started to think that's a bit weird. Then I started to notice that I would be driving along and one of these birds would sit in the middle of the road in front of my car. And then I would be at a service station. I'd go to walk in the door of the service station and this bird would be in there. And I was like, oh my God. Like, and every time I would think of Corey. Huge story short, I connected that this was Corey connecting with me. Now, at the time, I thought that I was just creating that in my mind because I was so grief stricken. I thought that, like, Trace, okay, if that's what you need to do to feel like you're still talking to Corey, you just do that. But then as the years went on, I started to talk to Corey as though he was sitting beside me. And I would be driving along in the car and I'd be just talking away to him. And he became that energy that I would just like tell all of my woes to. And because Corey and I used to, like, I'd be watering the garden on a Sunday afternoon and Corey would ring and we would talk for hours about God knows what. And so I just continued to do that. And what happened, what I started to notice was things were working out. And things that I'd say I wanted, next minute that thing or that person would turn up. And so there was that, and it didn't happen like, in 2 days. It took me years to pick up what he was putting down. Finally, I just went, oh, okay, so this is actually a thing. You're communicating with me. So then I did it on purpose and I started intentionally communicating with him. And so years go by and all of these things happen, and things that I cannot explain other than the fact that I now know and I trust that that's actually what it was and still is, that I'm connecting with Corey in spirit. And what that did was it started to open me up further to connecting more intentionally with spirit. And back in 2019 is when it all started to really open up. I have been a hairdresser for, God, so if I'm 55, I started when I was 17, do the math. I had my own business that I created just after Corey died. One of the gifts that Corey gave me was opening my own salon and going out on my own to do things that the way that I want to do it. Because where I was working, it was always about the eternal dollar. It was always about making more money out of the client. And I just loved hairdressing so much, and I loved the clients. So I just wanted to hairdress because I love talking to people and I love like helping them and all of the things. So I got my own shop. And that actually evolved to me purchasing my own shop in 2012. The whole thing, when I look back on it, the whole thing was a guided process. It was to open me up to the fact that there's more. There was more that I was doing than just cutting hair, that I had this innate ability to connect with people of all walks of life and have that absolutely non-judgmental space where you could be anyone. You could have a horn coming out your head. I really don't care. And I see the beauty in people and I see the pure potential in people, which has been a bit of a problem in the past when I didn't know that you may be able to see it, but will they actually allow themselves to be that? So not holding people to their potential, but just seeing that they have that and helping guide them to actually awaken to that. So my work started to evolve from hairdressing. When I bought the shop in 2012, it actually started to open up into this place where people would just turn up. They would just be driving along and they'd walk in, they go, oh my God, I was just driving past. I don't even know why, but I had to come in. I go, take a seat, have a cup of tea. Like, no, they didn't even have to have their hair done. They would just turn up and have a cup of tea or a hot chocolate. I had people that used to stop in on the way home because it was the only time that actually felt relaxed. And so they'd come and they'd like decompress before they went home. Then I started to notice that with my massaging at the basin after I'd take a color off, that something more was happening. Everybody loves a head massage, but there was something more that was happening. I went and learnt Reiki. That amplified it. Did Reiki too, amplified it even more. By the time I did my master's, it's like, oh my God, this portal had opened in my salon to the point where I actually built a room in my shop. And I started to, because I thought, oh my God, like this is so good. I wish I could actually lay you down because there's something more that I could do here. And so I started to move people from just there to there, get them laying down, and yeah, just started to work energetically with them. In 2019, I really wasn't good with the whole money side of things, and I got behind on quite a bit. And we ended up selling the shop and catching up, and we remortgaged our house, and then 2020 hit. And at that point, I'd rented this little room, this little like space, was a unit that I was doing my hairdressing at in Varsity Lakes, and people coming and it's lovely, and but with the 2020 gig, no hairdressing salons to be open. And I thought, oh my God, thank God I don't still have my shop. I would have lost everything. I realized that I was being taken care of so much with how things were unfolding. When I look back and I look at how everything's unfolded and evolved, it's been quite phenomenal to actually watch it. And this is where my trust now, I just have complete trust because I've just seen too much not to believe. So in 2020, what I started to notice was I started to get these messages from people from all over the world asking to connect with me and can you help me? People that were living in fear because of what was happening in 2020, people that were really suffering a lot of anxiety and depression. And, there was a woman that was sitting in her bathtub and she wouldn't come out of the bathtub. There was another little girl over in England and she was like self-harming. I had someone in Canada that was, so this all started to come. And at the same time, I thought, oh gosh, so this is actually amazing. I love being on here, talking to people across the world and seeing that, like, wow, instead of just being at a hairdressing chair where I just have that one-on-one, I actually can like help people across the world. So that just opened my mind, my heart, everything just got so excited. And that was when I started to do my first online processes. So the guidance has just gone from one step to the next step to the next step to the next step. And in 2019 was when my guides first, I really felt, oh, hang on a minute, there's more than Corey here. There's more. And it feels like there's a lot more. As 2020 started to unfold, I really felt like, oh, wow, this is actually feels phenomenal. And I can feel like there's all these different beings. They don't look particularly, I can't see them. They won't tell me their names. But I just started to like work with them and I'd call them my guys. And I said, hey guys, what do you think? Like, just show me. I have no idea what I'm doing here. So can you just point me in the direction? And then I just follow my intuition of what it was. So that really spoke to my adventurous spirit. I loved that thing where I could just like go, hey, what do you reckon about here? Should I go left? Should I go right? And I just do it all the time when I was driving, as well as making decisions. As 2021 started to come round, I really felt, oh yeah, I'm being totally guided. These programs seem like real, like they seem like there's something. And we came up to about, I think it was 23. Yeah. No, it was 22. So in 2022 was when I got this idea that I'd start mentoring more, that I'd offer people that they could see me rather than just once, they could see me for a whole month and then for 3 months. And then in 2022, I got this thing that, no, a container for 12 months. And it's going to be really intimate and you're going to walk with these women for 12 months. And I was going, oh my God. I go, what do I call it? What do I call you? Because like you're bringing this through. What do I call you? And they gave me the word quintessence. That to me made no sense because I'd never heard the word before. Number one, it's not a word I would normally say. And I just went, okay, then. All right. And so I just allowed myself to call the process quintessence. And then I started to realize, oh, so your quintessence. And it's this golden, incredibly beautiful, loving, non-judgmental energy that I work with that's a little bit fun, bit adventurous, very responsible, keeps me in line and keeps me accountable, but also has this innate way of working with me where we get to bring the best out in other people. And so I love that you're here. I want to take you on a journey and let's see where this goes for all of us. I'll see you on the next one.